Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase, pricing, and availability questions concerning this watch. Folks, this is why we're here. It's stuff like this. Executions at the highest level, virtuosity that you can wear, a vitrine that goes where you go, containing the highest level of rare craft arts. This is the Patek Philippe Calatrava 5088P-001, proof that you don't need a Nautilus, you don't need a complication to wear the heart and soul of Patek Philippe, and in this case, you wear that heart on your sleeve. In platinum, ultra thin, 38 millimeters in diameter. This example sold back in 2013. Only 8.6 millimeters thick, 45.6 from lug tip to lug tip with a 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs. A modern platinum Patek Philippe, and you know, because it features a 0.02 carat top Vesselton diamond between the lugs. Those who know, know. And this is different from other engraved and enameled Patek Philippe watches because the rare handcrafts extend to the case, which has been enameled and engraved with volutes and arabesque to match the dial. Let's throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference. Absolutely awesome, as good as it gets. Now, the strap is stiff. It hasn't been broken in, so I have to pull it a little bit tighter. It's exaggerating the width of the watch by constraining and shrinking my wrist, but you should have no problem, once the strap is broken in, wearing this watch on a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference. Here's your over the top. Here's your cuff shot. It'll work with any dress cuff. And then here's your down the barrel view right there. Buckle, a simple piece, spade style, polished, but engraved like the rest of the case. This sets it apart from any other Patek Philippe buckle. The piece may be generic, but the execution with the engraving specific to this reference. And you could see no compromise in spite of the small size of the engravings. Rolling around to the case, normally this would be a fairly simple blended lug Calatrava design, but you could see the way this works is quite different from the dial, where the engraving is around the exterior of the form, so they're sort of raised in relief, and then the hollow that's left, the recess, is filled with black enamel and fired. And so it works the exact opposite in relief compared to the dial. Patek Philippe Calatrava cross on the crown, the symbol of the company, and the dial beautifully symmetrical for something that is done entirely by hand and eye coordination using a burin and no engines or lathes. It's remarkable how symmetrical this dial is. You can also see that with just two hands, they've done us all a favor by minimizing the obstruction. The hands are white gold, so they match the color of the dial perfectly, and the dial is a white gold base. All of the engravings are on the white gold, and then sort of in a Champlevé fashion, wells between the engraved structures are filled with black enamel and fired 12, 15, up to 22 times. Easy to break something along the way, and by that I mean you could slip with the burin and waste the gold blank and have to start over again. Any of the firings, the grand faux, the multi-firing process, you can wind up with a fracture, a crack, or even an outright explosion of the glass on the dial, because enamel is glass paint in powdered form, and so the glass melts, and it should melt smooth, which is very difficult to do with black, blue, or other dark colors. Patek has mastered that. But at any point, if gas builds up inside the liquid glass and the top hardens over the liquid, then the liquid can gasify, explode, and break or fracture the glass top of the enamel dial, necessitating a restart. So every step, it's like making fine chocolate. Every step is the most important step. And look at the intricacy of the execution, volutes and arabesque. So this is a dial that probably took more time to fabricate than the rest of the watch combined. And that's a good thing. All of the action is on the dial side, which is not to say that the movement disappoints. It is a micro-rotor automatic, which is rare on a time-only Calatrava, as those generally get a manual wind movement or a center rotor automatic. In general, at Patek, when you see a micro-rotor, you're looking at some sort of flagship complication. But it has obvious advantages here because it makes this automatic watch as thin as a manual wind watch, because the rotor and all the winding mechanisms are in the same plane as the rest of the clockwork. It also gives you a big unobstructed case-back view, since you don't have a winding bridge and a rotor blocking your view of the movement. Taking a look at the tech specs, 27 joules, 5-position adjustment, free-sprung Gyromax style balance, anti-magnetic silicon hairspring. We have ceramic ball bearings with a 22-carat micro rotor for efficient winding, 48-hour reserve beaten away at 21,600 vibrations per hour, and you can see that the execution is handsome. We have stripes on the bridges and the mass. We have black polished screw heads with chamfered slots in circumference, engine turning in several sizes on the base plate, stripes across the bridges. We have bevels that are undoubtedly started by mechanical means, but probably finished manually, likely some sort of a drill tip with a felt end to create that mirrored rounded shine. Others that start mechanically also finish mechanically in JLC, AP, and even Journe. I'm looking at you guys. This is a better execution considering a hybrid of manual and automation. We also have little locating pegs that are there to locate bridges on substructures. Those locating pegs, you see those 3 right there, they've been polished on their top, and then you can see all of the jewel sinks have been mirror beveled on their interior with satination on the wheels. 30-meter water resistant, but you don't want to take it in the water. It's really just for splashes or inadvertent rain, water exposure when you're washing your hands, that sort of thing. This is as good as it gets, and with the engraved and enameled case, it's a step up even from an enamel dial. Reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.